moving sucks. It's hot, it's heavy, it's overwhelming. So if you've never hired a mover, I'm here to tell you that you should absolutely reconsider. Tyler Shirley from Two College Brothers is here. He is the Gainesville, Florida moving expert. And not only do he and his team care so much for you, they even have creative ways for you to pay for it. So I'll be honest, I have never hired a mover before. I've always done it myself with a U-Haul and some family and friends, but I'm 38 now, so nobody who I know wants to help us move and risk throwing their back out for pizza and beer. Yeah. So talk to me. If someone is like me, they've never hired a mover before, what do they need to know?
With moving, every single situation is different. It might be we're providing a full service pack and move. Some of those times we might be storing for them. Some of those times it's going long distance. A lot of moving parts that we have to work out logistically, but we take the responsibility of those for them so that they don't have to deal with it. And we really like to adhere to what the family needs. We listen for where they're struggling, where their pain points are during the move, and we do our best to provide an excellent service for them in each of those areas.
Not only are you helping to store stuff, but you can go outside of the Gainesville area?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's different local companies that only do local moves. Mm-hmm. That's why it's important to just interview your mover. When you're calling for a consult or calling them to get an estimate, those unique circumstances in the move, we're listening for that, and you should be asking the questions too to make sure that you're hiring the best mover.
I mean, what do most people do? We hop on Google and we look. So if I'm looking on Google, what am I looking for in finding the right mover?
Online reputation is huge. What are the actual paying customers saying about the moving company? What is the company responding to? And how are they responding? If you see a bunch of one-star reviews and the company isn't responding, or they have an attitude per se during their response, that may not be the best fit. But if you see a bunch of 5 stars, maybe a sprinkle of 4 stars or something like that, maybe they weren't 100% satisfied. But again, it goes back to what the company is saying to the reviews and how many of those online reviews they have. That's a big one.
And I mean, there's some people who will never give 5 stars regardless of how awesome it is. So I find you guys, I see your reviews, it all looks good. How much notice do you need? Who do I call? If I need to move in 30 days, when do I need to call you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we have people that call for a 5-bedroom house last minute, which if you don't know, 5-bedroom house is a very big move.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks to a month in advance is what we usually tend to ask. If you are anywhere within that window, you should be good.
What should I expect when I call you guys?
When you call in, a moving consultant is going to answer the phone, and they're going to be able to immediately start guiding you through the process. They're going to get your basic information, where it's coming from, where it's going to. The big question is going to be, what is the inventory? What is the items that we're taking? And that's what helps us prepare for the move, decide how many guys are going to be going out, how many trucks we need, how long it's going to take. So all those things factor into pricing out the move and preparing you and our company for the move. We like a unique touch of it. So when somebody calls in, we might schedule an on-site or a virtual. With technology nowadays, we can do a literal Zoom call with the client. They can walk us to their house and we pick up every single thing that they're moving through the Zoom call and just write it down on the inventory and talk about the details of the move.
And realizing that it's so much more than just saying, hey, my house is this much square footage. This is how many boxes I think I'm going to have. So you really do the inventory to figure out what you're moving. Now, let me ask, what if there's something that changes? Maybe I forgot to mention a bedroom, or I said I wasn't going to take the armoire, but now I am. So what happens in those situations?
We do constant communication. And that's one of the things that our clients really enjoy, because we are following up with you. So you don't have to reach out to us. We're going to reach out to you 2 weeks, a week, 2 days before the move, and the day of. Constantly making sure that the inventory is accurate. You didn't decide to get rid of things. You didn't decide to take things last minute. But if you did, it's never a problem. A lot of the times, the company that you go with is going to offer an hourly rate. And so they're just going to be on the clock, and however long they're on the clock for is how much you pay. So if you add something, no big deal. The movers will take it and we'll get it taken care of, but you just might pay a little bit more. And, inversely, if you get rid of something, that's just less time on your clock.
So that's something interesting, because I've always heard, moving is so expensive. So is it just based on time, or is it also based on what people are packing?
Yes and no. I mean, it's definitely based on time. It's based on distance. It's based on how much you are taking if the company is packing for you. then that's going to be a little bit more rather than if it was just the move. There's definitely things that you can do to save money on your move, and we like to advocate those things.
What do I need to be doing? Like, do I need to be going to stores and getting cardboard boxes and doing that thing? Or what is the best way for me to prep when a mover is coming to my house?
It all depends on what your scope of work was. What did you tell the moving company that you needed? And what did the moving company say they would do? If that's clear, then that should guide your path for prep. If you're packing on your own, make sure you have all the boxes. Sometimes the moving companies provide boxes at retail price. At Two College Brothers specifically, we offer box delivery, so there might be a local company that offers the same thing.
You know, we talked about earlier about like cutting costs. Can't I just like, you know, like those little like wine boxes and stuff? Like, can't we just like get boxes for free?
Yes, but I urge you not to.
Why? Why not?
The liquor boxes that you get at a liquor store or free boxes, just make sure that they're durable enough to withhold what you're putting in the box. You want to make sure that you're not getting too small of a box because the movers are on no time clock. If they're moving small boxes and a bunch of them, that's going to add time to your hourly rate. So make sure that you get boxes that are big enough to hold what you're taking, but durable enough also that they're not going to bust from the bottom.
So no stopping at ABC Liquor.
Don't stop at ABC.
Maybe for other reasons, but not for moving boxes.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So that gives a lot of clarity in terms of what I'm boxing up and what I'm moving. But what other kind of prep do I need to do for someone who's never had movers coming into the house? What's my checklist for before you guys arrive?
Check with your moving company. They might have a checklist for you and offer that as a free resource since you are their client. But if they don't have one, I'm here to tell you a clean house is the start to a great beginning. A clean house means that the movers are going to be able to work more efficiently. There's going to be less fog. They're not going to have to think about where they're walking and making sure that they have a clear path. They can just do their job. And that's so important, especially when they have heavy furniture and boxes that they're carrying throughout the home the entire day so that they can get the truck loaded up or unloaded efficiently.
I mean, it's so true. I think about when we're ever trying to do anything in my house, my dog's like running at my feet. So it makes sense to have objects out of the way for your staff.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, the dogs, we love them. We absolutely love animals. But if you can board them for a day or just leave them at grandparents' house or at sister-in-law's house, that's even better because the movers definitely don't want to trip over the dog, squish it, or hurt it. And honestly, the movers leave the door open all the time, and we don't want that dog to escape. So that brings up a good point.
When it gets to its destination, what is my role? Am I supposed to tell everybody where things go? If they had to disassemble big furniture, are they going to put it back together? How does it happen when everything gets unloaded?
It's however much you want to be involved. So I like to tell my clients that when the movers get there to unload, that's the time to pop the bottle of wine or champagne, kick your feet up, and just be the director. Like sit at the front door and tell them that piece is going here, that piece is going to the bedroom. They will move furniture 20 times within the home after it's unloading, make sure it's in the correct space. And they're going to even go as far as to make sure that it's reassembled and secure. So things like beds, desks, dining room tables, and those types of furniture pieces have to be disassembled to be able to move a lot of the time. And they'll reassemble those and they unload as well.
Why have I never done this before? This is so much better. So let's talk about maybe the uncomfortable question of what if something breaks? Somebody trips, drops something. How's that handled?
It varies by moving company. After you receive a written copy of your estimate, you look at the valuation and the claims policy. The main thing that you're going to look for is what is the valuation and what is the claims policy for that specific moving company. It should outline it in that written estimate.
And is that negotiable at all? So can you say, hey, this isn't just a dresser from IKEA, this is my great grandmother's antique, and then will they adjust that? Or it's kind of like it's one size fits all, it's either this or it's nothing?
There's usually anywhere from 1 to 3 options with valuation. So you can pick which one fits your budget and your items. So if you have a lot of antiques or high value items, then there's typically a premium option that you can go with lower deductibles or with higher coverage.
As a real estate agent, I obviously work with lots of buyers and sellers, and many of them want to hire movers, but there's oftentimes that financial hurdle. Either sellers have all of their money tied up in the house, or buyers are terrified to spend money on anything out of the ordinary because they're not going to get their loan approved. So are there creative ways that people can compensate Two College Brothers when they're buying and selling property?
Yeah, absolutely. We don't offer financing per se, but what we can do is work directly with the agent and the title specialist and the mortgage lender so that we can get paid at closing, basically. So we wrap the money up into escrow, and at that point, the client receives a binding estimate so they know exactly what they're going to pay for the move, and there's not an hourly rate or variability in their estimate cost. And then come time to closing, the escrow agent would just pay us as the moving company for completing that move.
That is such an amazing solution, because that is such a problem for people who are in the middle of real estate transactions. So I'm so glad that you guys do that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been able to help a lot of clients with that.
Knowing what I know now, I can tell you that the next time I move, there's no way I'm doing it without two college brothers. And if you need to get in touch with them, ask some questions, shoot them a text, because they're so great at responding. And if you're getting ready to sell a home and it's the first time you've ever done it, be sure to check out my Ultimate Seller's Moving Guide. I'm Lindsey Johnson, your resource for all things real estate. See you next time.